Difficult to say, because unfortunately no one knows Mozart. But if we study all the letters he wrote, and all the works and research carried out about his life and oeuvre, then one could think that he was someone who was very much in love, and indeed for whom love was the most important thing in life.
But was Mozart a person who experienced fulfilled love, or was he merely a prisoner of his imagination? The letters contain some answers. Which letters are meant? The famous, or rather infamous, letters to Maria Anna Thekla Mozart from Augsburg, Mozart's cousin? Generations of Mozart researchers and psychologists were shocked and fascinated by surprising obscenity to be found in the letters. Why should he not have had any erotic ideas? Why should he not have experienced this to the full? A society whose day-to-day life was strictly regulated by moral dogma of Catholicism tried to find possibilities of liberation, even in the sexual sphere. Various rather risque games were played to increase desire, at least. One of these games included the measuring of young ladies' calves. The annual carnival season offered the nobility and higher middle classes additional opportunities and suitable surroundings for the greatest possible anonymity. Several compositions, including some of the most excellent concert arias in music literature, are what remains of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's confessions of love to his great flame in Mannheim, the 16-year-old singer Aloysia Weber. Biographers dig deep into the realm of sentimentality when they try to describe and analyze the state of his mind.
His heart was excessively full of feelings he could not express. He was intoxicated by the dizziness of the exciting and at the same time frightening feeling of freedom.
And what sort of effect must Aloysia's beautiful voice have had on poor young Wolfgang?
Via the vegetative nervous system, acoustic impressions can not only change the heartbeat, but the breathing and the function of the sexual organs can also be directly influenced. Mozart was particularly sensitive in this sphere.
Finally, Mozart's father, Leopold, far away in Salzburg, asserted his authority and put an end to the naively euphoric courtship of his lovesick son. Leopold knew about the rather dubious Weber family, and he wanted to protect his son. Mozart had written to him,
I am so very fond of this poor family that I wish for nothing more than for me to make them happy. Perhaps I can do so. We could go to Italy. In Verona, I would like to write the opera for 50 zecchini only, so that she can be famous. I think we will go to Switzerland, perhaps even to Holland.
There was absolutely no doubt about Father Leopold's answer.
Off with you to Paris.
Das ist einfach diese Gluckensorge, die halt.
This is simply the joy and anxiety that responsible fathers have. In the family relationship was an element of tantalization that he had to overcome. He had to be able to stand up for himself, even to his parents, in every case. Mozart did that.
Das macht Mozart. Wir wissen viel weniger über was die Mutter.
We know far less about what his mother thought about it. I presume that Mozart's mother worried less, because for her it was not so important that Mozart had a world career. For her, it would have been important for him to be happy, and having a family meant a happy existence. His father had a different point of view.
Für den Vater war das eine etwas andere Sichtweise.
The journey to Paris, against the will of both travellers, took place under a bad omen. Mozart's mother could not speak French. Long journeys were physical torture for her. Mozart, in any case, only visited Paris from a sense of fulfilling his duty. Helpful friends were still to be found in Paris, and they arranged contacts. Nevertheless, the great breakthrough Mozart was longing for, and the desire to bask in glorious recognition, did not come about on this journey. There are several reasons for this.
If you had asked an Italian what he thought about French music, he would have said that it is not music at all, only form. It is rather like a boxwood tree that is not allowed to grow, but has to be cut in geometric forms. That is an example of French music. And if you had asked a Frenchman what he thought about Italian music, he would have said, that is not music, that is chaos. The supporters of Gluck and the supporters of Piccini used to beat each other up. They simply could not talk to one another. Mozart was neither a supporter of Gluck nor of Piccini. He was simply Mozart. If only the confounded French language were not so damn difficult to set to music. And the singers, they don't sing but scream and shout at the tops of their voices, from their nose and throats.
Mozart and Paris.
Das Blickfeld.
The way Paris regards Mozart is still comparable to the view they had of him in 1778. Let's say that Mozart is preferably seen as the child prodigy invited to Versailles. His genius was felt only very rarely.
Und für Wien sieht man am liebsten als das Wunderkind, das in Versailles eingeladen ist.
I have to ask whether this is not only true of Salzburg and Vienna. The question is raised whether Paris really comes off so much worse than Vienna.
Da so viel ungünstiger abschneidet als Wien, würde ich sagen.
Köchel number 297, the Paris Symphony, was the only real great success in Paris. The health of Mozart's mother, who was already ailing, seriously deteriorated due to the wretched living conditions in Paris. Several cries for help written in letters to her dear husband convey a vivid impression of what she must have been going through.
As regards my lifestyle, it is not at all pleasant. I sit alone all day long in a room as if I were under arrest, and it is so dark, but looks onto a little courtyard, and the whole day I cannot see the sun, and I have no idea what the weather is like. If I really struggle and some light comes in, I can do a little embroidery.
In June 1778, Anna Maria fell seriously ill. She herself undertook some bloodletting, but this did not bring about the desired improvement. On June 26th, a doctor informed the son that she will not survive the coming night. Excerpt from the church register of the Church of St. Eustace.
On July 4th, Marie Anna Pertl, 57 years old wife of Leopold Mozart, conductor in Salzburg, Bavaria, who died yesterday in the Rue du Groschnay, was buried in the cemetery of St. Eustache in the presence of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, her son.
Wolfgang did not inform his father about the death of his mother until July the 9th.
My dear father, I hope you are prepared to receive the saddest and most painful news with steadfastness.
The escape from Salzburg was a failure. Mozart had to return home. He left Paris in September. Despite being very hard up financially, he turned down a position as organist in Versailles. He'd achieved none of his aims. His mother had died and been buried in Paris. What Mozart took away with him were not really any major commissions, but instead some huge debts, which Leopold had to pay off over the coming years. However, Salzburg and the return to his father was not Mozart's aim, but he wanted to go back to Mannheim and to Aloysia Weber.
Dearest friend, my soul is troubled, and it will not be at peace until I have the consolation of being certain that you are given the justice you deserve. However, my situation and my condition will not really be happy until the day when I have the greatest pleasure of seeing you again and to embrace you with all of my heart. That is all I hope for and desire.